See how long can I got? Wow, 40 minutes. Yeah, I've deleted quite a few stuff. Just making this post. Yes, I'm the guy who actually commissions the artists. I pay them for their time. Um, because I didn't want to type in a lot of stuff on Amino. And one thing that I've agreed with some of my friends is like sometimes when you're typing, stuff comes across properly. It's actually best if you make a video, describe it so you can actually like fully explain. People get your tone of where you're going with stuff, and mainly this one kind of like involves shipping. I've said in the video, I've been focusing on my OCs lately. This is like one of the few times I've actually focused on characters in the show. With the exception, one of my OCs is based around what I think Blake should be. That's the Spider Faunus guy that I made. I just think I created a bit of backstory, and why he's motivated to leave the White Fang. And like we still don't know why Blake left the White Fang. It's weird. Um, but on that, yeah, blacksun, iceberg. I've written some stuff down already in it describing why I like blacksun, mainly because I see it as one of the most logical ships in the show so far. It's like it's just been there constantly. It's got so much stuff backing it up. It just makes sense. And from a personal point of view, also past experience, I had a bad experience in the past in a relationship that went bad. And despite all my friends, I blamed myself for a while. It's something you do, especially with someone you love. You go through stages, and I blamed myself, and apparently it wasn't my fault. Like the more I looked at it, it wasn't my fault. It was just bad experience, but we won't go into that. But yeah, modern day friend zone. Friend zone's a horrible word, and that's just one thing I don't want to see happen to Sun. Like when you consider Adam, and that's a thing to all the people out there. That's perhaps one of the earliest ships that's canon in the show is Toradonna, or whatever you want to, Beauty and the Beast. Adam and Blake, it's canon. They were in a relationship in the past. You may hate the guy, he's a fucking asshole, but it's canon. You can't do nothing about it. That's one of the most, that's 100% canon. It's part of the story. You have to deal with it. But Sun, yeah, he's always been there since the beginning. Most of Blake's character development, like whatever Yang's done for Blake, Sun's also done. The only sense is he hasn't opened up as much, mainly because like he's busy listening to her. And I don't think we're going to hear much about his story until we get to Vacchio, or as we're leaving Haven in Volume 6. He might mention something about Haven, because he's usually very quiet. He lets them. It's like he's letting the main characters actually talk their shit out, and he stands in the background and goes, "I'm happy where I am." And Iceberg, I like watching Weiss's reaction to Neptune. It's like she's adorable when they're getting along, and as soon as he fucks up, she goes off her bloody brain. If anyone's gonna keep Neptune in line, actually bring out the best in him and just get rid of the worst, it's Weiss, because she's gonna step all over him if that ever happens. And I would, and I don't want to say, I don't want Volume 6 to start, the students come back to Haven, and then they just pick up this relationship, and you're just like, wow, Iceberg's canon like that? I don't like that stuff. I like shit built up over time. And that's why I don't support Bumblebee. It's like, the last time you can even count Bumblebee is when Yang got her arm stabbed, and that's just really a friend sticking up for a friend. You don't want to see friends hurt, so you instinctively protect your friends. That doesn't mean they're in love. So if you're not counting that, and then you're jumping back even further, she saved her a dance, mainly because she wanted her to get out and have some fun. That's like a girls' night out type thing that women do. And before that, Yang opening up to Blake is perhaps the only real Bumblebee thing that we've actually seen in the show. And again, you can argue whether that's attraction or it's friendship, because one, I'm not anti-gay, leso, bi. I do have my issues with transgender, which we're not going to go into because That's my point of view. But yeah, one of my best friends, one of my top 3 friends, actually she's bisexual, but she's married a woman because marriage is legal between gays and lesbians in Australia, which I voted for. I fully supported that, and she just had a baby boy, artificial insemination type stuff. And God, that was a long thing for them. It took them a year, and some really dangerous shit happened during that time. She ended up in hospital from allergic reaction. But yeah, I fully support. I don't like when it's shoved in our face, because the way I look at it, this is why I'm not a big supporter of the LGBT community these days. I have been in the past. It's just these days, it's shoved in your face. It's gone from equality to we must be represented. We must. They want to go from the minority to the majority. We are number one. It's like and that's why you see like my friend. She was very proud to be bisexual. They always went to the festival in the city. Celebrated their sexuality on that day, but you know, she doesn't walk down the street and go, "Hey, I'm bisexual," or "Hey, I'm lesbian," or "Why isn't women portrayed in this show? Why aren't lesbians?" She never does that. It's like, your sexuality, who you're attracted to, is your business, not anyone else's. If you're attracted to someone, you can let them know. That's how talking's gonna start. That's how relationships gonna start. You don't need to walk down the street to every random person you meet and be like, "Hey, I'm a lesbian, I'm a bisexual, we want our rights." I'm like, fuck, you're allowed to get married in Australia. And to be dead honest, if you actually travel to Australia, you're not oppressed. I've never actually seen that. I mean, you may get the religious type of oppression, and I know Tara had... The only real issue she's actually had in her life was from her parents when they come out, and they're still pains in the ass still today. But, like, she's surrounded by friends and other family members who fully support her, so I don't see the LGBT community, GG community, as oppressed. It's not the fucking Middle Ages, it's not the religious... Well, in the Middle East it is, but... Yeah, I just don't see it. So I'm not against it. If it happens in Rwby, I'm fine with it. If we're exploring a few things, because I want this to be about 10 minutes. White Rose, not gonna happen. In my eyes, it's not gonna happen because, and I've talked to my friends about this, Rwby, we've started to make a joke about it. She's like weapon sexual. That's like a new gender for this show. Weapon sexual. She's most likely to hump Crescent Rose than she is any guy or girl. Penny, she might hump. But Penny's not coming back. Her soul moved on. She'd be an empty shell of what she once was. Which would be a dark version of the show if they do go that way. But yeah, that's my only issue with Rwby. It also goes to straight things. I see Rwby and Oscar as extremely creepy. Mainly because of all the different souls and memories that are in him. Mainly because she knew Ozpin as well. And you notice with Ozpin, we never saw him with a girlfriend, either or wife or anything. So it's like a weird thing. I don't want that Oscar thing forced down our throats because we're just going to end up hating it. Anyway, the Jean and Rwby thing, could happen. The thing that John's got going for him, much like Sun, is he's been there since Volume 1 and he's had a lot of character development. The whole thing with Pyrrha, I don't know, it could be weird, but it could happen. White Rose, I don't see it. My main issue with the four girls, and why I don't think any of them are going to end up together, like, whether it's Bumblebee, Monochrome, Freezerburn, White Rose, why I don't think it will happen, because my view is we haven't really seen sexual attraction between the girls. As I said, the closest you kind of see is when Yang opens up to Blake. Really, the way I say it, you can call it comrades, you can call it friends, teammates, best BFFs or whatever they call it, best friends, or what's the last one? Sisterhood. 5 ways of looking at it. It's like, that's how I see them. For all the shit that's happened in the show, and what fans actually pointed out, like, Weiss and Blake have barely talked, like, since the beginning. Rwby and Blake have rarely talked. It's like, for a show about teamwork, they don't go into it that much. Yeah, I just can't see. The only reason going into Ilya and Blake, the only reason I don't see that happening, Blake could be bisexual. That could happen. I won't deny it. Could happen. I just see her as straight. She's been like that since. There's a reason Toradonna happened. And this is the freaky thing. A lot of people have actually pointed out with the timing and everything, you know, if they're the same age, jump back where you see that still picture of Blake holding the sign. That's how they're supposed to look when they're 12 years old. Fast forward to Adam Short. Ilya's supposed to be 12 years old and she looks like she's fucking grown up already. But yeah, I don't see Ilya and Blake attracted to her at 12 years old. I don't know. I don't have experience as a lesbian. I don't know if you are and you're on Amino, comment when you first found out. But you know, we know that Blake stayed till quite recently, till she was around 17. But the whole thing with Adam took place around 14, 15 for a few years. So yeah, it's quite possible that Ilya was attracted to Blake around the teenage years, hormones and all shit happening. But Blake had eyes for Adam. She wanted the D. It was that simple. She was straight. She didn't notice any advances whatsoever, which could have been Ilya's own fault. The only problem I got is with Ilya, I want to know how old she was when she got kicked out of Atlas, because she was already going to a prep school. She was there for a while. She's made friends. Her parents died from a furnace accident. A furnace is responsible for killing her parents, so I don't know why the fuck she's blaming humans. Then something shit happens, where she gets out of Atlas, and she somehow winds up, in all places, in like Mistral Anima. And then she's picked up by the White Fang, somehow, which would instigate both Sienna and Gira, to some extent. She's influenced by Adam, puts on the goddamn mask, dresses like a cult leader, which was never a smart idea. And then for some fucking reason ends up in Menagerie. I mean, I get, you know, she follows the White Fang, she believes in their cause. But if she's horny as fuck for Blake, why didn't she just leave with Blake? Like, that's the main issue that I have with Rwby as a whole. You want to call this a professional show? The way I look at it, Rooster Teeth doesn't do professional shows. Red vs. Blue isn't a professional show. It's a comedy. It's a huge friggin' comedy, full of tropes, full of just taking the piss. I enjoy it. I like laughing, so I'll watch the fucking show. I like Funhouse. I like Achievement Hunter and all that. They were what I was a fan of when I first got into Rooster Teeth. I was a huge fan of Funhouse and Achievement Hunter, especially Achievement Hunter. It makes me laugh my ass off watching them. I dislike Nomad of Nowhere. I don't like the friggin' show. Don't like it at all. What a waste of animation. I mean, it's like that friggin' High Garden Spice. It's cartoon animation and it's like wasted. Take all the money you're spending on that show and shove it into Rwby. Genlock already has a bigger budget than Rwby. That's pretty sad, given that they don't know how people are going to react to it. I already know I'm going to dislike it. I have so much respect for the mecha genre. Huge fan of Evangelion, Gundam. I watched Darling in the Franxx. I didn't mind it. It went a bit fucked up towards the end, but I enjoyed it. And I just don't see a company like Rooster Teeth get it. Because in the mecha genre, you either do really well or you fuck up. Darling in the Franxx is alright for the most part and fucks up at the end, but so many people have looked at it and just gone, it's shit. Mainly because the ending. So they're very judgmental. This is a very hard genre to get into. Rwby falls under the schoolgirl genre. It's a pretty easy genre to get into. Pretty simple. You can't fuck it up unless you're High Garden Spice. You fucked it up already. But yeah, the way I see Rwby, the way I see the show, and I'm emotionally invested, so I'll watch it. Although 6 could be my last volume watching it. I like the fan fiction. I'm a big fan of Rwby 3.0. If you look up on Twitter, I think Dishwasher? Is it Dishwasher? He calls himself BACH back. He does Rwby 3.0. He does the artwork for that. It's fucking amazing. Why he is not hired by Rwby and this is why they need to sell the show to a Japanese studio and just let the Japs fucking just... They will friggin' make Rwby fantastic. Any Japanese studio that gets a hold of Rwby and reboots it, so they could call it Rwby Ultimate, Rwby Sisterhood, whatever, they reboot it, they put a lot of money, they have 50 people writing the friggin' show, because that's how big their fucking writing casts are. They have hundreds of people working animation. The show would be fucking fantastic. Rooster Teeth in general, and this, I'm ending it now, I've already gone over. The way I see it, and especially the way I see Rwby, it's a learning curve. Much like everything that they produce. It's just one giant learning curve for them. At no point has this show been consistent. It's gone from small-ass episodes. Volume 1 was nothing. You want to call it revolutionary, it was nothing. It was pretty much fan fiction at that point. Just something fan-made. Tiny-ass episodes. And we've jumped ahead 5 years. We're approaching the 6th year of Rwby. We don't have standard episodes per volume or season. That's random. Episode time. We're not guaranteed 15 minutes of animation. We're not guaranteed 20 minutes of animation. And then you got to throw in the intro and outro on top of that, which takes up more time. We're not guaranteed any of that. Rwby itself, whoever the crew that makes up Rwby is inconsistent. So many people from the show have come in, been removed, gone off to do other things. So many people at the moment are being torn out of the show. One of the best animators, Kim, has been taken out of Rwby and shoved in Genlock. Not to say the person they didn't replace isn't doing a good job, because she worked on the Adam Short, and, you know, the action was pretty good. So, but I'm like, yeah, even the team is inconsistent. They haven't got someone who's working on the show who knows it inside out. It's like saying Kim finally figured out gunchucks, and now she's gone. So if we see Sun in action again, it's going to look different. Unless they just blatantly copy what Kim done, like copy-paste, in which case we're going to get pissed anyway. That's why I don't see it as an anime. You can look at it as an animation. You can look as a cartoon. It's got no consistency. It's good for what it is, but it has next to no consistency. And I wasn't the biggest fan of the relics, because look at the maidens. Poor maidens. Made by a wizard. 4 relics. Made by the gods. You could not have changed the number at least. Oh, not many people are religious these days. But we're part of the Illuminati who serve the gods. I swear to fucking God. Honestly, they should not be writing this show. That's the main issue. The fan fiction of this show is better than the show itself in most instances. And it's not because the fans got more time. They're just better. They have a better imagination and they're more open. Amino either has good or it's got some of the most fantastic stuff. But let's face it, Rwby doesn't pay attention to us. They'll pay attention to Murder of Birds. They'll pay attention to anyone who kisses their ass and overreacts to their show. Because Meta Birds will say 50 things about how much he loves the show and then mention one tiny thing like Rwby's development. And they'll be like, oh yeah, we could develop Rwby. Thank you for kissing our ass. And then we make a video or we write something. And I have made some pretty bad comments in the past, to which I am sorry that I've made some of them because they're just rude and inconsiderate. But from a logical point of view, you make a video, you try to be as neutral as possible. They don't care. So as much as my opinion on certain ships, where the show's going, you want to call it keep moving forward, but Volume 5 took the mistakes of Volume 4 and it didn't learn. Certain animation got bigger upgrades. Teleporting, geez, when that guy did the teleporting video, just as bad. They're just as bad with the teleporting. The only way Rwby succeeds if there's only 2 or 3 characters just sitting there. It looks beautiful. Start to put a group together, fucking goes to shit. So it's like 1 step forward, 2, 3 steps back. And that's what's gonna happen in Volume 6. It's why I have low expectations. I want it to do good. I want to watch Volume 6 and be shocked at how well they've improved. But I'm getting the feeling Volume 6 is gonna end. Worst possible outcome? It's worse than Volume bloody 5. Volume 5 overall has been voted the worst volume of the series. We all thought couldn't get worse than Volume 4. They can't do worse than Volume 4. Hold my beer. Watch us fuck up Volume 5. And now going into Volume 6, if they somehow do worse, just drop the show. Stick to Amino, stick to Reddit, have your fun. Just drop it. It's not worth it anymore. Go invest in another anime. Someone did a video. I'm ending it now. But someone did a video on YouTube you can look up. My Hero Academia versus Little Witch Academia versus Rwby. I have my issues with My Hero Academia because I criticize anything. As soon as I see something I don't like, I will voice my opinion on it. But in all honesty, My Hero, both shows have the animation. And 2D animation's harder than 3D animation. 3D animation, you can take so many shortcuts. Music, both shows, is on fucking point. It's beautiful. Animation's beautiful. They don't cut out on fucking fight scenes. They don't cut out just walking down the street. Animation, music's beautiful. Plot is good. My Hero Academia is forwarding about 20 characters' backstory, motivation, and drive in 3 seasons all at once, while having some of the best ideologies and convictions for their villains. And this is how I sum it up. My Hero Academia is what Rwby should be if it was successful, if it was pushed, if it was made by Japs. My Hero Academia is what Rwby should be. And in 5 years, 6 years almost, look at that. 1 year of My Hero Academia outshined fucking Rwby in all of Rwby in an instant. So take that to heart. It's just my opinion, and this is the one thing that I love putting in people's faces, right? So many people are out there. This is the big thing today. You gotta respect my opinion. No matter what I say, you should respect my opinion. Turn that around, people. You may not like what I say, but if you want me to respect your opinion, you gotta respect the shit that comes out of my mouth. You may not like it, but that's how it bites you in the fucking ass. And that's something you don't see with, I don't know if it's the gay, the feminist community. As soon as someone doesn't disagree with their opinions, they attack you, which makes them hypocrites. I'm going to post this with my new artwork that I got done by Tofu Bell. So, enjoy.